Cordelia and I obviously have become a director in her business. She's become a director in my business. We have shared equity. We are officially married. Actually, we're fully married in law, in business. And I wanted to talk to you about how to develop your own partnership as well. And you guys, anyone who's watching this, you've got the exact same opportunities as Cordelia and I had to create a partnership, because how we found each other, actually, to be fair, we didn't find each other in a Facebook group, but how we found each other was through our membership in a training, a business that trained on marketing, and we met and over the last 5 years. Oh God, when was it? When did we meet? September 2017.
Yeah. It was actually August 2017.
Was it August?
Or maybe it was September. Either way.
I think it was September.
Coming up to our 6-year anniversary.
We should find out the dates of that, and we should actually do something.
Yes. We met off the back of an online community at an event that they put on. So a bit like how we've got this drinks thing coming up on the 1st of July. The community was so strong that people would fly from all over the world to go to those events. And we actually flew to Arizona to go to that specific event. And Caroline wasn't particularly present in the community at that time. So I met her through friends that I had met in the community.
Well, that was the point I was going to talk about. Firstly, Cordelia, do you want to show the video?
Yeah, so I've got a couple of clips. I used to, back in those days, I was like all in on like creating a little YouTube channel. It's really cringe. Like, it's very embarrassing to watch now, but it's quite funny. But when me and Caroline met, like, in fact, this was before me and Caroline met. Caroline saw this on my YouTube channel the next day and then was like, oh, that was nice. Now, you won't be able to find these videos because they are hidden from humanity.
And we've met Dan Holloway, we've met Greg, we've met Fiona.
Greg and Fiona.
Oh, Caroline, she's really cool.
Yeah.
Proper on my level, actually.
Yeah.
Love Caroline.
Yeah.
But
Right, so then what happened after that, right, was that we ended up in a minibus going to the Grand Canyon to record some ads, and me and Caroline were just having a hoot. And you can be seen. I mean,
why are you doing this to me?
You don't need to do anything other than a wee, because it's just absolutely.
Why is my face like this? Hi.
God, you look so young.
I know, and that's how we met.
And on that trip, Cordelia ended up filming an advert which performed very, very well because I helped her script. And by the way, I didn't know that I was a scripter. And this is the big part of it. Like, so here's my steps, right, for our partnership at the bare minimum. We joined the community, which all of you have already done. So you've done step 1. You're great. The next thing is that we interacted with individuals, right? So Cordelia and I sort of ended up meeting because I made friends with Dan, and actually had met him at an event prior to that. And I was actually I was interacting. I wasn't so much in the Facebook, the main Facebook group, but I was interacting with individuals and meeting them and building personal relationships. So I'd met Dan, had a personal relationship with him, and I met Gavin as well, and I'd met Gail. And so we were starting to formulate individual connections with people, with real people. So, and funnily, and in the same way, Dan was doing a lot of videos into the community. Like, we were sort of we were connecting on like a bit of on a platform, like presenting in, and then we were also building a friendship. And so I've got that in terms of, we joined the community, which you lot have all done, interacted with individuals. Then what happened? We formed a group and we started adding value. And so that was where I was taking that bit. It's like, when I met Cordelia, I'd been in the community. So I joined in January. So it'd been a while that I'd been involved in the community, but it was all sort of like gaining a bit of momentum. And for me, I mean, gaining momentum in terms of my immersion into that community. I've been making friends with individuals, interacting with individuals who kind of leapt out at me as people that I wanted to connect with. I was starting to show up more. And that meant that when I came to this event, Cordelia was like magnetized to me through a friend. And then we formed a friendship group. And in this friendship group that we had, we then wanted to we found that as like almost like a homecoming. We're like, oh, this is really fun because we're trying to create changes in our lives. We're trying to build businesses. We're just trying to, and it was also, there was a lot of like mindset stuff and spirituality stuff in this group. And I'd never really been exposed to anything like that before. I'd never really been exposed to mindset stuff. So it was quite, when you first read a book about mindset, you're like, oh, wow, this is the solution to all problems. You kind of get like quite like into it. So I was quite passionate about it. And then I started meeting other people that were passionate about it. So we're very much immersed in the concept of it and building relationships and connections around that. Then we decided, firstly, we were going to have our own social group, but secondly, we were going to add value to this community. And that's something I really want to mostly hone in on today, is the adding value part, because this had a few offshoots. So I didn't actually know. So at the time when I had helped Cordelia with her advert in the Grand Canyon, I didn't actually know that I was good at adverts, except for the fact that, so Dan was doing pretty well with his adverts and he'd been doing it for a little bit longer than me. And the first advert I launched, so the idea, the gold standard at the time was to get £5 cost per leads. I don't know if anyone's sort of familiar with that. I launched my first advert, which got £5 cost per leads, and Dan's was getting like 20 at this time. And I was like, nah, I'm doing better. And it was just something that I had a knack for. And so when I went to this event, I actually started meeting people, and they were like, they told me that I was a copywriter. I was told that I was a copywriter. I didn't become one. I was told I was one. And so we went on this trip in the Grand Canyon, and I helped Cordelia and also Dave script their adverts. And I also helped Dan write an advert, which generated him a huge amount of money. And from that, I found out that I had a knack for copywriting, which is then how I became a copywriting helper, I suppose, at that stage. So what I'm encouraging in that essence is that not only do you guys connect with each other, but like you find gaps in the holes. What are other people needing that you've got expertise on? And it doesn't have to be like, so for instance, Stephanie Burley, you are helping nail technicians get fully booked. I imagine some of those skills are really transferable, right? Like what happened with my skill, I suppose, was that it was translated into creating adverts or helping people. And then what I started doing is running a hot seats and having people come on and doing hot seats. So, and then started making more connections. So what I'm suggesting is like everyone here, right? Like just because you, and again, Naomi, you're a children's anxiety coach, that is definitely going to have something to do with digging into who they are at their core and what they're struggling with. So many people need that. Kelly obviously helps with Facebook ads. This is something like you can just go in and start helping your community and figuring out individual people that have those needs and supporting them. And that's essentially all Cordelia and I did. That's what we did. We just both started then showing up and supporting people in our community. But in that process, where we had come together, because we'd formed these intimate connections, we'd formed these one-on-one connections, we'd formed our own personal group. We were immersed in this community, but also separate from it in our own entity, that as a group, we benefited from it more. We weren't just presenting to the community, like helping people out, We were very enmeshed in one another's lives and businesses. So we very much were involved in that. So we didn't just go, oh, let's be partners. We just partnered because what Cordelia's strengths are is much more strategic and much more methodology based. And so I'm much more like ideas and words and message. But it's like quite kind of impractical. Cordelia is so much more practical than me, and she just puts rubber to the road and she executes. I can be a flapper. She's like poof, and I sometimes I'm like caught in the smoke of her trail because I'm like, okay, it's moving so fast. So what we had was that we didn't say 6 years ago, let's form that partnership. We slowly, organically formed a partnership through a few mutual connections, to the point where we were then helping each other with our own businesses individually. So she helped me launch my first, what was called tribe funnels. I had my tribe funnel, which was a group that taught my messaging process. So this was the next thing I got. We had interacted with individuals. We formed a friendship group, presented value, which I guess you guys are all going to be familiar with this process if you've spent any time in the Rebellious Business Network, because this is basically a lot of the stuff we teach. And then I formulated my own group, right? So then I've packaged up my value. I've put it into a Facebook group and I've started developing my own community. So what happened then is I started creating my own unique value, separate from this community that I had connected in and separate from our friendship group. So I've got my own strong, unique value and my own following of people and my own and people that are interested in me. But this was created from the confidence I got from my friendship group, from making those individual connections, and from the confidence I got from presenting into my community. So I then had the confidence to have my own independent group, which people were turning up to my live calls, which people were messaging me, which, I was getting clients. I was doing pretty well with that. Cordelia in the background, coaching me, helping me set this all up because I'm not very practical, also making me get out of my own way. Like I'm having to, if you guys search Caroline Antonia in the Rebellious Business Network, you'll see some of my original promotions for my tribe funnel where I got my clients from the Rebellious Business Network. So get a promotion pass so that you guys can do that as well. So then I had my own group separate from our community, and Cordelia had already done the same as well, developing her own group. So you can see how we started both like amplifying our own independent individual value, but it was through helping one another. Our ambitions weren't necessarily to partner. Our ambitions were to grow independently and to help and add value. And the way we managed to do that was through leveraging our community, leveraging our friendships, helping one another. And so then it gets to the point that we both know each other's businesses intimately. We both know each other's businesses, and we both know that the holes in our businesses are the shape of the other one. My business had a nice Cordelia-shaped hole, and Cordelia's business had a nice Caroline-shaped hole. And what we were doing was then supporting one another. Cordelia rang me while I was in Thailand this year. She thinks it's the other way around. Maybe it was me. I don't know. Anyway, one of us rang the other one, was like, I think Cordelia offered me to present into the Rebellious Business Network. It might have actually been one of the programs, because you offered to pay me, and we pay trainers if it's in one of our programs to present. And I was like, don't worry about paying me. Like, I'll just do like a program or a course or whatever. And what happened was then I was like, what are you doing? Like, how is everything going with this? And we just started talking. I was going, let me just help you. Let me just help you with this. And it started off as a very like organic, I'm helping Cordelia achieve something in her business because I am her friend. And then she's like, I don't want to live without you. Like, don't be my friend, be my partner. And at the time I've got real commitment issues. So I was like, listen, I'm just going to help you. And then we'll leave it at that. Anyway, obviously, fast forward time, because of how aligned we were, when we actually sat down and we spoke about what we want to achieve in the long-term vision, what we have in mind for the business, like what we both want. We both wanted the same thing. We both really want to have similar outcomes for both of our businesses, but we found that we weren't able to necessarily get to those outcomes without each other's support. So then it was like, there wasn't any worry of us having a commitment, because it's like, we're just working towards the same thing, together. So that's the sort of story of how it came together. And what I want to the things that I really want to emphasize to you is this is based on a few things. Firstly, building connections. Secondly, trying to actually solve problems. Thirdly, initiative. We both took on the initiative to grow our own businesses, and it's bloody hard. And then also in supporting one another as well. So you guys have a really good opportunity right now. Like, you can make these strong personal connections you can start to cultivate your presence within the Rebellious Business Network. Actually, we really encourage that. The group that we were in before they eventually put restrictions in place for the relationship that could, like, they wanted to like sort of stop that because it was detracting, it was taken away from business. Anyway, we really want to cultivate that and encourage that, to get in, make individual connections, solve problems, grow your own business, support people that you have connections with, and identify the holes that you two are able to fill. Now, one word of warning, Cordelia and I tried to partner when
I just found it here. This is
the Q&A soiree.
Yeah, look.
Oh God.
This is Cordelia and Caroline's private members group. Look, I closed
130 members isn't bad.
The post of us putting about our weekly webinar Tuesdays at 8:30 p.m. and that was in April 2018.
8:30 p.m. What's wrong with us?
I don't know. That's craziness, isn't it? 8:30 p.m.
Yeah. So this didn't work out at that time, and I think it was just I wasn't as committed as Cordelia, and I work very differently. So our styles didn't work so well then. So it didn't work, the partnership then. However, it really, really works now. And that's something to take into consideration. This is why I just said, the initiative and building your own thing and establishing your own unique value and becoming established and proving that proves to someone who is also putting in that work that you two, there's a viable commitment, because partnerships just based like with that. I think our history, our then prolonged growth together, our shared interests, our shared outcomes, and also the development of our bond over time is what has enabled us to form a strong partnership, because we've got, there's legal ramifications now. There's financial ramifications. Like, without getting too into it, like, we are taking on really strong aspects of the other person's life as part of the business, because where I'm strong in one area and Cordelia is strong in another area, or weak in one area, weak in another area, it has ramifications on your personal life as well in relation to the business. We are both going, okay, I'll take that of your personal life and I'll take that of your personal life and I'll deal with it, so that we're sort of amplifying one another. That has to be done through time and continued effort. So those are the aspects that I really wanted to share. It's like, don't be flippant with partnerships. Like, you have to really develop. You have to develop yourself, and you have to develop trust, and you have to show initiative, and you have to show change and growth. Secondly, start building relationships one-on-one with people. Start elevating your status as well. This was all part of the Rebel Reach Challenge. We want everyone to use this community to build partnerships, to grow businesses, to grow their mindsets, to change themselves. But that you need to elevate your platform, because people are then attracted to you. And then you need to present value as well as elevate your platform, and share in values with other people and help them grow their businesses. And at a certain stage, you will find that you're joining together is just, it's not just smart, it's the best thing to do. So that's my little spiel on partnerships.
There's another side to this as well, which is that deciding to run a business is very lonely. It's really lonely being a business owner. Like, if you make it lonely, you have to work really hard to make it not lonely, basically. Because when you've got a job, or you're a part of a team or whatever, you're being managed, they're probably putting on team building stuff, or you're going for after work drinks or whatever. Like, you're part of an organization that has other people in it. When you decide to become a business owner, you are the decision maker. You're the person that's got to have the courage. You're the person that's got to maintain high levels of motivation to keep yourself going. And community in business is not just a marketing tool. It's necessary. We need people around us. It's very, very hard doing this on your own. It's really, really hard if you feel like eventually, if you spend too long in isolation, you end up with mental health problems. We just had that worldwide experiment with COVID, right? There are people that have had mental health issues off the back of being in isolation to especially children, Naomi, right? It's not very good for your health. And I was listening to a podcast by Stephen Bartlett, and he was talking about, him building his business in a kitchen in the middle of nowhere, or in a living room in the middle of nowhere, are not his happiest days. I think the thing is that we have a choice, and the choice is that we can either do this on our own, or we can find a tribe and do it with them. And the only way in which you're going to have a tribe around you is if you show up and you let people get to know you and connect with you. And like, instead of being in business communities with the objective of finding clients, have the objective of making friends. Because when you make friends, your friends often become your clients. Caroline's been my client before. I've got loads of friends that have been clients, but also when you make friends with people, there is so many more opportunities that come out of that connection. I always say that, like, there's a presenting opportunity, but there's always hidden opportunities behind it. And it's so interesting to see how things evolve and unfold. But like, be curious, be open-minded, and see what happens. And I think the priority, especially in the Rebellious Business Network, is, position yourself as a pillar of this community, but not through your marketing content, through like actually trying to make friends here. Who is in this network that you gel with? You're not going to gel with everyone. It's not going to happen. There's some people in here that can do your head in, and there's some people in here that you're going to absolutely love. But the only way you're going to meet and find and connect with them is if you show up and you ask questions and you support each other and you create, you go live into the group, for instance. One of the things that this community that me and Caroline were a part of did was this 90-day video journey. And it was awesome because you'd be on this 90-day video journey, and all it was that you just have to post a video every day for 90 days to get used to the idea of being on video. That was it, basically. But you'd watch everybody else's videos whilst you're on your video journey, and you'd feel like you really get to know that person. Then there'd be an in-person meetup, and like, you just be like, oh, it's you. I've seen all your videos. Oh, this is so funny. I feel like I know who you are. That's kind of what happened. And with Alex Smale, one of me and Caroline's really good friends, like, that's how I met Alex. We were both on the video journey together, and then we ended up Skyping. God, we used to actually use Skype. I don't even know if people use that anymore, but we were Skyping, and he was helping me with my website, right? He'd had a marketing agency for years. He was helping me with my website, and I was helping him with something else, and we just helped each other, right? And it's an element of having accountability partners. But without giving it the official and rather boring title, you're just friends. You're friends. You want the best for each other. You're holding each other accountable because you want each other to succeed. You're showing up to help each other because you want each other to succeed. And also, it's a two-way thing, right? You're helping each other. But there is another underlying element to that is so powerful, which is that you're not in this on your own. The first business I ran was in 2015, and I was so alone. I had nowhere to ask questions. I had no one to support me. I had no one to speak. I made friends with the bloody man at the freight distributor place because he was helpful. He helped me a lot. I can't even remember his name anymore. It was probably Dave, right? Good old Dave at the freight distributor. Like, he became my only friend because he knew what all this jargon meant in the freight. But this is the thing, is like, I wish back then I was in a community of eBay sellers. I was in a community of people that were doing similar things to me, that had similar mindset, that I could ask questions to and also make friends with, and, immerse myself in that environment. Actually, I was completely on my own. And I put the failure of that business down to the fact that I was completely on my own. I didn't know what I was doing. I bought a course. I was still on my own. So this community gets to be that pool for you. you can go and create your own community. We have training on that. We encourage that. It's a really great way to build a business. But like, if you're not ready for that, if you're not ready to build a tribe for your brand yet, then like immerse yourself in someone else's. Find a tribe. If the Rebellious Business, if you're watching this, you're like, those people are mental. Go find another tribe. Find a tribe. Doesn't matter what flipping tribe it is. Find a tribe that you feel connected to and find your people in that tribe, because that's the beauty. Okay, we've just said that social media is isolating and digital business is isolating and running a business is isolating, and we need to find a way of reconnecting and being part of a tribe. And, you know, that is really important. It's one of our human needs. But at the same time, the beauty of online tribes, the beauty of digital community is it's very niche. If we went in Oxford and we announced that we were having a business network for people that considered themselves to be a little bit rebellious, our pool of people to connect with would be a lot smaller than if we go global. We've got a business community for people that consider themselves to be a little bit rebellious. And you attract the kind of people that resonate with your message. You attract the kind of people that resonate with your vibe. Now, digital communities are really niche because you have people that you wouldn't otherwise be connected with that are all, you have a concentration of the same kind of people in one space that you just wouldn't get in a city or in in the same kind of way. But that being said, you really have to make the effort to turn that digital community, which can still be quite isolating, into something that's actually very present in your life, that's actually giving you that human to human connection that you need to feel like you're in this together. So this group that Caroline was talking about, Team Super Cool McAwesome Sauce, we were called. That was our name. What we did, like, we had, Caroline was living in America at that point. She was at uni or something. Were you at uni? You were in America.
No, I was in uni like 12 years ago. I was applying for grad school. Yeah, so I lived in Philadelphia for 3 months. Didn't work. I just was writing my. Was it then?
Well, anyway,
that was before. That was before.
You were.
I was in America for a few months. That's why I missed the event. So
you were in America. Cut a long story short, you were in America. Dan was traveling all over the place on like what they called like those workation things, remote working. Yiska was living in the Netherlands. Gail and Holly were up north. Gavin was in Leicester. There was not a single person that was an hour's drive away from me, right? It's just there wasn't. Mm-hmm. But we met up all the time, right? We had Zoom calls all the time. We had a WhatsApp group that was just nutty as anything. We had, and then when we did meet up, it felt really special because we were in each other's company. So we'd do certain meetups. We'd do cheese and wine at my house. We'd do some kind of like, we'd rent an Airbnb and all go and meet up together. We did social things, but we were very connected outside of the physical meetups because, we were talking every single day pretty much. But yeah. If anyone wants to contribute to this conversation, please make yourself.
Well, I want to just sort of say, just to wind that back and sort of give examples of what I've seen recently. Now, I said I had a call with Kelly and Naomi this week, and I said to them as well, and this is really interesting and something to share. I got really no idea what's going on in the community. I don't know who's friends, who's not friends. In my mind, I was like, oh, I feel like Kelly and Naomi, if they aren't friends, right? They aren't friends. They should be friends. And I want to get them on a call to either introduce them or figure out if they're friends or whatever. And as I was getting on the call, I was like, they might actually really not even like each other. And I was like, oh God, this might be a really awkward conversation. And I was like, it made me realize, like, okay, I shouldn't play the friend conductor here because like sometimes you just don't like people because you just don't like them. But just because I think they should be friends, I might be just going, go on, bond. And they're like, anyway, turns out they'd already made friends and they had already formulated a personal relationship. So that was great. That was all right for me. And actually, interestingly enough, Kelly had helped Naomi with her posts. And this was great for me as well, because I was like, oh, I can already see the makings of like where Cordelia and I were 5 years ago. Not, I'm not suggesting any future partnership or anything, but I'm seeing one-to-one connections outside of the Rebellious Business network training, whatever, right? Like it didn't have any bearing on what we're providing as a service. It wasn't to do with our training or the network itself. It was literally helping Naomi with her post. Kelly had helped Naomi with her posts. This one, I was like, right, I'm gonna amplify this as well. I'm gonna make it live. I'm gonna put it on the page. That got more views than our laughing video where we look like seals. All right, okay.
The video bombed. It totally bombed. I was really surprised. I thought
they were too busy watching Naomi and Kelly. They're gonna steal the spotlight from us. So I actually need to tag Kelly in that. But yeah, so that was just like an example of people doing that. People doing that, people connecting. And should we get the girls out? Because they're funny as well, actually.
Yeah.
For a few minutes. Let's spotlight Kelly and Naomi. And we want to amplify and encourage these roles.
Okay.
Hi.
I can just see me. That's a bit weird.
I always think of Adele. You give me such Adele vibes.
Who, me?
Yeah.
Do I? Oh, okay. I can't sing like that. I wish I could. Just don't have a voice.
Too.
I make the cats run away.
I dare you, Naomi. Go on.
No, Kelly. Everyone will be like, no. Everyone will just leave the RBN. I'm not going to do that to you guys.
Cordelia, hello.
Oh, you spotlighted me too.
Just sticking me on there. Yeah, come on. So how did you two actually then first start talking out of interest?
So it was so we'd kind of connected, and because we're doing the get paying clients together as well, so we kind of got seeing each other's stuff in there, but we'd connected. But then after the networking last week, I'd actually spoke to Kelly and said, like, I'm really finding it difficult to put posts out because it's just not me. Like, I can talk until the cows come home, but writing is just not my strong point, and I know that. And Kelly was like, oh, well, write a post and just send it to me. So I was like, okay. So the next day I wrote a post and sent it to Kelly.
I'm not sure it was a post. Go on.
I love this
story. I think it was more of like a dissertation kind of length.
Yeah.
Kelly's response was, I'm surprised you're not being able to put much out. It's a little bit big.
So you wrote an essay, and then
it was a blog. It was a blog, not a post. No wonder she doesn't do it very often, because it must have taken her all day to write it. She had about 20 different subjects going on in it as well. It was a bit.
There was me thinking I didn't put enough in. There was me going, oh, have I really given enough value to the people watching? And Kelly's like, no, just strip it back. just take all of that out. Just this bit will do.
Yes,
that's awesome.
She had about a month's posts in one post, and it was just talking with Naomi and just showing that to show up on your social posts is simple, and you really don't need to overcomplicate things. A bit like how you two just tell us through the whole of this group that don't overthink things, just do it.
So my takeaway from that is that asking for help can be a great way to make friends.
Yeah, definitely. Because now I think me and Kelly have we're kind of on the same wavelength anyway. Like after the we've had, I think we're kind of quite similar people, a bit like you girls. So it was just nice because, like you say, starting a business and being independent is really quite isolating, quite lonely. And my corporate background, I'm used to being in an office and seeing people every single day. So going from that to nothing is a real whoa, what am I doing? So to then have kind of people that I'm connecting with, and I know that if I'm struggling with anything, I can then just say to Kelly, can you let me know whether or not I'm in the right track or whether I've written War and Peace again.
I love it. Hey, it's just off the back of what you just said there. It's just like we've got quite a few people here in the network, right? But I don't think that really matters in the sense that there's more of a chance you might have some in your area. One thing that me and Caroline, Team Super Cool McCawsome Sauce, one thing that we did as a group is we used to put on these meetups. Now we've of course got these drinks lined up on the 1st of July, which would be a great opportunity for everyone to meet each other. But another thing that you could do, and you're just so welcome to do this, anyone that feels like, that doing this, is to put on a meetup. Like if you're up north somewhere or down south somewhere or east or west or whatever, like Rebellious Business Network can't go on tour. It's just impossible. I've got 3 kids, right? And as much as I would love to go, do you know what? We're going to do a different city it's just too much. It's too much for me to do that. But you are more than welcome to like arrange your own meetups. Like what we've been talking about this in the WhatsApp group lately. It's like, oh, who lives in this area? Oh, we should go for coffee. But like all you need, this is all we used to do when we were in the SFM, which is now called Mentors. When we were part of Team Super Cool McCawsome Stores, all we used to do is we'd pick a date, we'd pick a location, and it would usually be all bar one in London somewhere on this date at this time, free for all to just
always all bar one.
It was always
all bar one, and every time ever.
Not this time. We won't be at All Bar One on the 1st of July. So if you try and find us there, you will not find us there because it's not where we're going to be.
Now, to our sponsors.